Yes, happy. Nistu Magoyo Sakoyi. I'm with the Native Wellness Institute team. Just we just came off of so much celebration. Our Wednesday Power Hour is coming to you out in the woods. So we welcome you to the Wednesday Wellness Power Hour that we provide for, oh gosh, almost 120 weeks now since the pandemic. And just to welcome all of you. And it's such a grand time in our universe and in our world. I'm in Glacier National Park, actually within the Blackfeet Reservation. So I guess my land acknowledgement is the Blackfoot Confederacy. We've been here since before the United States and the Canadian government. But I thought what I would do is pick a topic of staying grounded, staying serene, staying in a place of clarity. Just for about a half hour here because it's Wellness Wednesday. And I'd like to start with a story. And it's a story of a sisterhood that I have in the San Francisco Bay Area. I have sisterhoods stories many places, but the sisterhood recently been experiencing the changes of the pandemic, the changes with our relatives, the changes with transformation of job turnover, new jobs, new opportunities. And so the sisterhood, I've been meeting with them, I guess for 25 years, and it's kind of an evolution. So it's beautiful because now the younger teenagers are now the adults, and so this is how they stay grounded, and how over the years they always have a water walk. And it used to be a big annual celebration, and we would all gather and would go to the ocean and would take big buckets and would just take a scoop of the water and sing songs along the ocean there, and take our time, sing songs. They would pray to the whales, the seals, all of the ocean water animals, and then they would take the water and they would put the prayers back into the water, and it always seemed to ground us. So what has happened recently, in this last 3 years since we do have the pandemic, is that all of us just kind of text each other or call each other, or we just say, go out to the water and let's all get grounded. And so even when before the vaccine and before there was, we're all in quarantine, we would all just get on. And the way that we got grounded is we would just go find a piece of water. And some of us, it was a lake, some of it was running water, some of it, not the water in the toilet bowl, but it could be any kind of water. But we would just take our tobacco and say, okay, at 7 o'clock, let's just all pray. And if some kind of miracle started happening with the water, because water heals and water just has so much potency. Is at that time we could all feel the energy, even though we're thousands of miles away. We would all feel this energy. We'd feel grounded. So I thought I would share that story. So if you're feeling, if there's a lot of chaos or drama, or you're still having explosions from Fourth of July, I mean, because on this res, I think people they put their kids in hawks so they can get some money to get some fireworks, eh? Anyway, so that's one way, just to kind of, and I just this is what I'm looking at. And so my my second story is how do you use the ground? How do you use the land to keep you grounded and to keep you centered? And so one of this is like an old Indian trick, and it has to do with just getting down on the ground. It has to do with just laying down on the ground. And so I'm laying flat out, say no bears, no mountain lions, no tourists. And I'm laying on the ground and I'm asking in our language, it's called sakum, the earth. And it's a good word to learn because as you're laying on the ground, from your feet to your calves, up to your heart, up to your head, out to your arms, you can just ask sakum, nogaki, help me and help me to get grounded so that I have clarity. Help me to get grounded so that I think with a good mind, that I think with a positive mind, that the words that I choose, that I use with people are gentle, that they're tender, that they're encouraging, and that they uplift people's spirit. And you can lay on the ground. I mean, I sometimes sometimes I'll lay there, a good 20 minutes. Sometimes, like now, we're just coming on for some time for the power hour for Native Wellness Institute. Sometimes you can, lay there a couple of minutes, and then it's an unusual thing begins to happen. Is the earth heals you, and the ground heals you, and the air, the fresh mountain air heals you. We have an incredible amount of bear grass here, and it's a really profound medicine. And those of you, I know a lot of you like to harvest your own medicine. This bear grass that you see right here, we would always. This is the way our mother taught us to ground ourselves. I mean, there's many. I'm not gonna do plant 101, but she would always say, pick the bear grass. And so we would pick the bear grass and we'd go home, and sometimes it was a Folgers coffee can. Sometimes it was a vase. Sometimes it was just an old cup. And we would take the bear grass and would put it into there like a bouquet of flowers. And we didn't have much money, so my mom used to buy food coloring and just put it in the water and then go to sleep that night. And when we woke up, all the bear grass would be the color of the food color that we put in there, and it would last for days. And my mother used to say to us, when as the color is there, just be joyful, just have a happy heart. Take that as a grounding and having clarity. Now as I'm looking out, I want to keep showing you the scene. This is the backbone of the world. This is what they call, I guess it's called the Rocky Mountains. And so how else do we use the land to get grounded? Um, you know, Gene Tagabon, our beloved brother, he's always encouraging us to take our shoes off, to go barefoot. And I was thinking, because like I live on a reservation, and all the res kids, they were trying to say what was the definition of resiliency, and all the res kids ran around barefooted on the gravel. So that was their definition of resiliency, was running barefooted on the gravel. I and so right now I'm not gonna run through this barefooted. I mean, I do have some flip flops on, but that's another way. and maybe it's just to get out and just to walk, barefooted you might be on the beach, you might be, and even, I think about even when you're in the city, if you go to what they call a park, the parks, the green grass, or you might have in your backyard, that might have, I was thinking when I was a city dweller, we all went to mowing, having a nice lawn, but that beautiful grass, whether it's mowed or however it's growing naturally, is just to take off your shoes and walk and with the bottom of your feet. And so in one of the traditional teachings, especially with medicines during this pandemic, we Native Wellness Institute, we were talking to you a lot about how you take the medicine up the bottom of your feet. I know one of our first power hours, I don't know, 420 power hours ago, we were talking about using bear grease, or if you don't have bear grease, and cayenne pepper, that you put it on the bottom of your feet and put a sock on it, just let it absorb, and it fortifies your lungs, it fortifies your immunity system. And we were always instructed that, like if someone had pneumonia, or someone had bronchitis, or sometimes when children have, a cold or a flu, that if you just take that bear grass, and if you don't, not bear grass, bear grease, but if you don't have that, that's okay too, because we don't want you killing a bear just to get some bear. We get ours from bears that die naturally or are euthanized on this reservation. But you can use an oil, like just think about, the sacredness of, virgin olive oil or coconut. I have some sweetgrass oil, or, some grapeseed oil. Just all of those could be, used, and something's biting me. Anyway, I didn't kill it. I just swatted it off. That's the other thing, sometimes when you're grounded, you, I was having this discussion with we just had a big old powwow with our veterans. And there's a lot of healing around forgiveness. And we were talking about not being in a spiritual space where we didn't want to kill anything or harm anything. So they were laughing and say, yeah, even take the spiders, get the spiders and take them outside, and let them be free, rather than smash them. So anyway, the discussion got to mosquitoes and flies, and some people, it's always a discussion. But one of the things about becoming grounded, and I'll share another story around that. It's just about storytelling. It's that when you're grounded, there's no need to kill anything. There's no need to go out and, mass shoot. I listened to a short piece of news and I decided to turn it off because I didn't want to hear about another shooting. And, and then I think in that terms, and I think and sometimes, maybe it's not just kill with a gun. Maybe it's like, and maybe this is another way to frame that story, is the words to use. Don't kill with your words. Don't hurt somebody's spirit with your words. Don't talk about people in a bad way. And my mother and our elders were just reminding us, like, when you lose someone, because I just got news we lost one of a very dear elder just this morning. And so then from that moment on, your words should only be about what they did good. You should only uplift the family with the good stories, because we all have, it's kind of interesting. What the beauty of life is, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly stories. But once a person has left this earthbound and left this earth, we should only tell the stories of when they spoke well, when they did well, when they did good, and so I was just remembering that elder's smile at a wedding, and just remembering how she dressed up for that wedding. I mean, old ladies, it's really nice when they'll put on all their makeup, and old ladies have different kind of makeup. And she put on her best clothes, and she had her best shoes. They always say, yeah, these shoes are only good for an hour. You should only, or these are only dancing shoes. They're only good for 2 hours. And I just remember her being dressed up, and kept saying, "I'm smiling so much, my teeth are dry," because she was having so much joy. And so I'm just that's how I'm gonna remember her today, as put out tobacco, put out prayers, and then she goes on. So another way to stay grounded is to look at who you hang around, because you are who you hang around, and look at the things that they participate in. Is it easy? Is it going with the flow? And I was, and all of us, we have those times where, we might have an agenda, and everybody has a watch now that reminds us. I think about these little dings, like, you gotta zoom in 30 minutes. You gotta zoom in 10 minutes, and you hear all these things. But one of the ways is to just go with the flow. And I say go with the flow. We had a powwow here, special exhibitions. We had there was just so much to take care of during that time, and they just went with the flow. And then what happened, what was the beautiful thing, is this thunder and lightning storm, when we're under this giant canopy, it just came in, and everyone had to run under the canopy. So that's the time when you say, wow, what a blessing. Look at all this water. We won't have fires. Wow, look at this water dropped from Esterbata Beat Creator. Wow. And so everybody just enjoyed the water falling. And so it was the clarity came, and the grounding came when everyone said, okay, that's okay. We're going to just enjoy this, make sure everyone's safe, make sure the elders are okay. And then we took a pause and enjoyed it. And then when it kind of subsided, we carried on. Okay, and it was golden age. and, and so it was just so beautiful, because everyone took time to enjoy that thunder lightning storm. And then when it subsided, we just carried on with golden age. And then we had all of our adult categories, and we just went on, and everyone remained joyful. Everyone remain, humorous, because boy, some of my people have wicked humor, you know, and things like that. Especially when thunder, and lightning comes, there's such powerful blessings, that thunder and the lightning. So that's a way to get grounded. The other, I was just wanted to put out a positive word for the magic of touch to get grounded. And now that, here, 95% of us have 4 shots. And we do have a lot of visitors right now. But what I was noticing, what helped all of our people, because we gathered, I don't know, they said there was a couple thousand at this manpower veterans powwow that we had. And what I noticed is people would just be talking to each other, and then they would reach out, and they would just touch someone and just say to them, are hugging, of course, but they just say, "Oh man, it's just so good to see you. It's just so good to see you eyeball to eyeball and not on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, and then what I noticed when people hugged, they hugged longer, they hugged tighter, and they just held on to each other because it was safe enough to give that hug medicine. And so I just wanted to, hug as much as you can. And if you're still wearing masks, still hug. That there's a healing, grounding touch of another human being or another animal spirit. We have that with our cats, our dogs, our horses. We can heal with dogs. We can heal with cats. We can heal with turtles. I know one young person, she's had another turtle, and those turtles have healed her. I just think about, and those of you who know me, for about, God, I think it's going 14 years, I've had pet foxes. And the pet foxes, since we had to put Ocon iron, the pet foxes have been coming, and they'll almost come to where my hand, and they've been doing that lately because I thought they already know, and we speak a different kind of telepathic language where they come and they comfort and they heal. And so that power of touch, I know with infants, I was just speaking to another good friend who has a brand new grandchild, 3 weeks old. And they're riding the mom and the child and looking at the cradle board, just putting her in the cradle board, looking at all of those good lessons about breastfeeding, all of that touch, and what I've learned 66 years, and what I've learned with women is one of the best things you can do with that infant is just have touch all the time. Have the cradle boards where they can be on your back so that they can feel your heartbeat. And I guess that's a touch or where you could feel someone's heartbeat. That's very grounding. So sometimes it's even good to feel your own heartbeat. You can feel it on your wrist. You can feel it here. And these are some pretty good little arteries right here. One of the things because I'm a meat eater, wild meat, but I'm a meat eater, is our mother always taught us to pray to our arteries, to pray that the blood flows through good, that the blood flows in a good way, that the blood is carried. And so I've had some relatives, they've had strokes, and they're rehabilitating, and it's an amazing miracle, but just even that touch to yourself, feel your own heartbeat, that's grounding. And that inward journey that we can take, where we calm our self-regulate, and we calm ourselves down, and just so that our heart is not racing. Just breathe the fresh mountain air. Just feel your heart doing a good job. And they say 60, 65, 70 beats per minute is healthy. And so just encouraging you not to have your heart racing manic, not have your heart racing so that you can feel it pounding, that you just calm it down and you get that groundedness where your heartbeat is just good and peaceful. So these are these. This is just a message today because we're in a beautiful time where we're transforming. Where most of us, we're not dealing with the greatest threat of COVID, but we're able to go out without masks. I'm not wearing a mask here because we used to say a buffalo length apart. I just think I don't have to wear a mask here. I don't know, this going to the sun road, this looking at Divide Mountain, and right there is a triple divide. It's the water from the glaciers that goes up into Canada to the Hudson and feeds the water system there. And then it goes down the Missouri to, you all know where Standing Rock is. The water's fed from here. And then the waters go across and feed the Pacific Ocean. They call it Triple Divide. So I just decided to, we were just, our team is busy, and I thought, well, let's talk about being grounded here. And this triple divide, I have the underground water right now, the aquifers, because there's a lot of waterfalls that are just spurting out water, and you can drink it. It's clear water. It's clean water. It's drinkable. You just got to have a container. You don't have to buy bottled water. But this triple divide is, I would say, it's a holy place, because the ground that I'm standing on, there's so much underground aquifer, and even this Lower St. Mary's Lake, they say is connected to Flathead Lake that's the Salish Kootenai, that the underground water, that the underground spirits and the sweet to be, the water spirits can help you. And so, when we're in the sweat, we use that water. When you jump into the lake and say your prayers in the 4 directions, dive completely into the water 4 times. And and if you only have like the shower or the bathtub, get in the water and say, the sweet water spirit, a sweet to be, no gaki no gaspomokit, pity me, help me, and you'll feel refreshed. And because I was thinking about this 3-week-old baby, and I was thinking about how there was another young mother that she was looking sleep deprived because her baby would stay up all night and sleep all day. you know that route. And so here's my mom, and just her 83 years of experience, and so she just gently told that new mother, she said, just take a cold wash rag, and during the waking hours, during the daylight hours, just keep the baby awake with that cold wash rag. Just put it on their face, and they'll wake up. And she said, within 3 or 4 days, you turn them back around where they sleep during the night. Just a simple remedy with water. Water being the healing. And so I was just, the young mother was so grateful. And I was looking at my mom, and I was just thinking about all the, she had us biological children, but she has 70 adopted children too. I was just like, and then, I was just thinking of all the mothers. And so maybe that's a good way for us to kind of wind down just on this short power hour of wellness on this Wednesday, July the 6th, is that the cycles of our life are like chapters. We have a couple decades, we're up to 20 years old. There's a couple chapters there. And, from 20 to 40, there's a couple more chapters. From 40 to 60, there's a couple more chapters. 60 to 80, and if we're fortunate, to live from 80 to 100, that each of those chapters, that today you just look back and you reflect you reflect on how many beautiful chapters you've had and how many beautiful life lessons that you've had. And you just make a gratitude list. So just making that gratitude list, and especially, the hardest lessons, man, I know they're painful. I mean, if you went through a divorce or you lost someone close, they're so dang painful, but they teach so much. And when your heart is broken, it opens up wider with an ability to love. So look at each of those chapters. And I know, with our healing and grief, it's a blessing to grieve, to have that, the grieving is as big as the love. So just take your time with it, be gentle. But those chapters of your life, look ahead. Because I was just talking with my life partner this morning, and I said, I think I'm only gonna live 23 more years. We always have this discussion because it's our humor. We always say, well, how do you want to go out? I said, well, we could go out together like Thelma and Louise. We'll go up. There's one big buffalo jump. We'll pick one of our favorite vehicles, and rather than be in the hospital all wired up to machines, we'll just kind of say, okay, this has been good enough. All these chapters have been good. It's time to. We'll still be alive, but just kind of. So we always, it's our own humor, around. We'll just go off like Thelma and Louise off the buffalo jump. And it won't be anyway. So I think I'm going to kind of wind down, and thank you, Shailene. Thank you for getting us on this power hour, and I think we'll say kita kito matsuno and we'll sign off. So thank you very much.